League sources telling ESPN the Lakers are racing the clock, trying to make a deal before Friday when LeBron James has to decide if he wants to become a free agent. League sources also say there are at least 4 other teams who have made offers to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard. Our Adrian Wojnarowski helped break this story. So, Woj, what's the latest on the trade talks between the Lakers and the Spurs?
The Lakers re-engaged San Antonio today on Kawhi Leonard to try to get talks started again and see if there's a pathway to a deal to bring Kawhi Leonard to Los Angeles in advance of LeBron James having to make his decision in free agency. Obviously, the Lakers would love to be able to acquire both players, and having an all-NBA player the caliber of Leonard already on the roster or on his way in, the Lakers believe would make the idea of signing with LA that much more appealing to LeBron James.
Yeah, this whole thing is very appealing for Lakers fans, but let's face it, how much pressure is on Magic Johnson and the Lakers to trade for Kawhi?
Well, there's a tremendous amount because James has been at times reluctant to be the first star into LA. Now, he may ultimately decide to do that, but it becomes much easier if a Kawhi Leonard has arrived in a trade or Paul George commits in free agency. The risk for the Lakers is this. Last year, they didn't make a big offer to the Indiana Pacers for Paul George. They thought they would be able to get him in free agency this year without giving up a lot of their assets. Well, now they're in a real fight with Oklahoma City, who made a great impression on George throughout the year. And there's the risk for the Lakers that if the Spurs trade Leonard elsewhere, Boston, Philadelphia, he has a great year, gets to an NBA final. Those teams offer to re-sign him, obviously, to a max contract, that the Lakers could be back in the same place next year without a surefire All-NBA player ready to sign with them in free agency. They may have to empty their arsenal of young players and draft picks to get a deal done for Leonard now, especially given the fact that it will be very helpful in recruiting LeBron James.
Seems to be changing every hour on the hour, but you need some sleep. So thanks for joining us on SportsCenter, Woj.
He's my new best friend. I hang out with him every single night now. Our front office insider, Bobby Marks, is here. So to recap the Woj report, the Lakers want Kawhi Leonard. They really need to get him to get LeBron James, and all that sounds great, Amy, but how do they actually get him? How do they acquire him in this very near future?
Well, Steve, it starts with their young players, and right now the Lakers are at $56 million in cap space. We took Luol Deng out and we used a stretch provision on him. Deng has a $7.5 million cap hit, so he is out of the equation. But it starts with Brandon Ingram, Mo Wagner, who they just drafted. He could be traded. They could trade his draft rights.
So when you X him out, you're getting rid of him.
We're getting rid of him. We're trading him to San Antonio right now. Kyle Kuzma will likely cost you, and probably even a Josh Hart. And we're not even talking about draft picks. So that gets you to $63 million.
Yep.
And here's where Kawhi Leonard slides in. You slide Leonard in, you still have $44 million in room. We still have the Julius Randle cap hold on there. And that would be how you get Leonard, but it's going to cost you some of your younger players.
The stretch provision is fascinating, too. Not really. We'll get into that some other time. I'm supposed to ask you some other question, but I think my question is better. In your backroom dealings on the phone, do you believe the Lakers have already spoken with LeBron's camp and a conversation was had, hey, if we get Kawhi, are you coming? Do you believe that conversation has already taken place, and how often does that happen?
I think you have to. And I know July 1 is the date when you're supposed to be talking to free agents or their agents, but Steve, there's a lot of back channeling here. Sure. You have to line up your ducks as far as letting LeBron's camp know who is coming. So when you meet with him or when you make a presentation, you could say, we've got Kawhi Leonard. Do you want to come with him?
Right. So that conversation you would guess is already, and it's probably happened elsewhere then too, right?
Oh, it's happening everywhere.
Other places than just the Lakers. All right. So to be totally greedy now, how is there a way you can move? Can you X out enough people here where you foresee a way the Lakers could get Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and say a Paul George?
We can, and it's gonna, and I don't even have to bring out the calculator to do it. We are going to we're gonna clear the deck here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take out Julius Randle, we're gonna take out Lonzo Ball, Tyler Ennis, Zubac, and Thomas Bryant. And that gets you to 64 and change. Let's throw LeBron in here now.
You have to field 5 players? You have to put 5 on the court,
We
right?
do, but here. So will Paul George take a $400,000 discount?
Yes.
We'll bump his number down. We'll slide him in there.
Okay.
And that is how you get the big 3.
Right.
Now the question is, how do you get 10 other players? And now you're looking at minimum players. You have your room and level, $4.4 million to field a roster around these 3 players.
And listen, I guess so you need minimum guys the rest of the way, but I don't care who else is on the court, though. With these 3, they win. They win, right?
This is Miami 2010. This is the plan right here. And now it's up to the front office to try to get guys like Golden State has done to take those bargain basement discounts.
So, I mean, this is fun. This is NBA Monopoly. Is this realistic? Could this happen?
It is realistic because Luol Deng, we originally thought that Deng had to be moved to a 3rd team to clear out his money. But we're using a stretch provision. Where do you send Lonzo Ball? That would be, and Ball has value.
Right.
I mean, that wouldn't just be a salary dump. But yeah, this is how you can get the big 3 in Los Angeles.
People in Los Angeles are flipping out. So the Lakers this coming season could have these 3 guys in the uniform.
They can.
That is spectacular.